Hello students, welcome back to Effortless Chemistry. Already we have started the chemical equilibrium in the last session and we have discussed up to graphical representation of chemical equilibrium. In this session we will discuss some important points about chemical equilibrium and what is the active mass, law of mass action, what is the law of chemical equilibrium. So all these things will be covered in this video. So before starting that, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notification for all the videos. Now we know that chemical equilibrium is always discussed for the reversible reaction. So what is the condition for reversible reaction? It must take place in the closed vessel. That's why chemical equilibrium is achieved only in the closed vessel. If we take open vessel, reversible reaction becomes as what? Irreversible reaction. So for irreversible reaction, equilibrium cannot be discussed here. So equilibrium is achieved only in the closed vessel. First point is what? Equilibrium is achieved only in closed vessel. So this is one of the important point for equilibrium. Second point, according to definition, we know that at equilibrium rate forward will be equal to rate backward, concentration of reactant as well as product become as constant. There is no change in the concentration of reactant or product with the time here. So at equilibrium, so these are some important points you have to remember. At equilibrium, rate forward will be equal to rate backward, molar concentration of reactant equal to constant, molar concentration of product also equal to constant. Once the reaction achieves equilibrium position, at equilibrium all the measurable properties become constant. So what are measurable properties? Pressure, temperature, concentration, density, color. So all these things become constant at equilibrium position. So next point will be what? At equilibrium all measurable properties like pressure, temperature, density, concentration, color become constant. The next point is equilibrium is dynamic, not static. Equilibrium is dynamic but not static means once the reaction achieves equilibrium position, at equilibrium both forward and backward reactions are taking place at the same velocity, but the reaction will not stop here. That's why equilibrium is always dynamic, so that there will be always reactant is getting converted into product is again coming back to the reactant, continuous motion will be there. That's why equilibrium is what? Dynamic but not static. So at equilibrium what happens? At equilibrium both forward and backward reactions takes place at same velocity. Same velocity, but reaction will not stop. Okay. So next point is this equilibrium can be achieved from the reactant side or from the product side. Equilibrium position is independent of direction of the reaction. You can start the reaction from left hand side, reach right hand side, or you can start the reaction from right hand side and go for what? Left hand side. From any direction you start the reaction, again the position of equilibrium will be what? Same. It is independent of direction of the reaction. Equilibrium can be achieved from both reactant as well as product side. It is independent of direction. We'll see one example for that one. Equilibrium can be achieved from both reactant and product side. It is independent of direction. It is independent of direction. For example, if I take H2 combines with I2 giving 2 moles of HI, this is one reaction. Now if you reverse this reaction, you can start the reaction from HI also. 2 times of HI upon decomposition gives H2 and I2. So all are gases here. This also gas, gas, gas and gas here. So what happens when the reaction starts? Concentration of reactant gone decreases and concentration of product gone increases. At particular stage of the reversible reaction, there is no change in the concentration of reactant and product. That particular stage is called as what? Equilibrium. Now we will see this graphically. If I take concentration of reactants versus time here, so I will take it like this. Now if I start the reaction from H2 and I2, I will start the reaction from H2 and I2 and I will reach what? HI. So what are the reactants here? So molar concentration of H2, molar concentration of I2. Since these are reactants, initially what happens? Concentration of reactant go on decreases and concentration of product go on increases from left to right here. So if I take the molar concentration of HI, so here in this case concentration of H2 and I2 go on decreases and ultimately it become constant. Concentration of HI go on increases and again it become constant here. You can take HI also. If you start reaction from HI, concentration of HI go on decreases and concentration of H2 and I2 go on increases. Suppose if I start reaction from HI, so HI will be what? Reactant for this reaction. Concentration of reactant go on decreases and ultimately it become as constant. And concentration of product, what are products here? H2 and I2. So you take H2 and I2 here. Molar concentration of H2, molar concentration of I2. So the concentration of product go on increases and ultimately it become constant here. See here, you can start reaction from H2 and I2, go for HI, or else you can start reaction from HI and you can reach what? H2 and I2. So in both direction equilibrium will be achieved. So this point where the concentration of reactant as well as product become constant, so this point will be taken as what? Equilibrium point. You can start reaction from left to right or you can come from what? Right to left. Again the position of equilibrium will be what? Same here. So the equilibrium is independent of direction of the reaction. So you can start reaction from left hand side or from the right hand side here. So this is one important point for the equilibrium. Next point. So next point is effect of catalyst on the equilibrium position. We know that there are two types of catalyst. One is positive catalyst and another is what? Negative catalyst. Positive catalyst increases rate of reaction and negative catalyst will decrease the rate of reaction here. So the presence of positive catalyst will not affect the equilibrium position in case of equilibrium. So if you use positive catalyst in case of reversible reaction, the presence of positive catalyst will not affect the equilibrium position, but it helps to achieve equilibrium faster than earlier, because that positive catalyst, it will catalyze both forward as well as backward reaction, so that the reaction will reach the equilibrium point faster than earlier here. So next point will be what? The presence of positive catalyst. The presence of positive catalyst will not affect equilibrium point. Will not affect equilibrium point, but helps to achieve equilibrium faster than achieve equilibrium faster than earlier. For example, you take this reaction, so A will be giving B. So initially 100 moles of A is taken, so at time t equal to 0, B will be what? 0 here. Whenever the reaction reaches equilibrium, for example, you take 40 moles of A is present and 60 moles of B will be present. Assume that this reaction is taking place in the closed vessel, so that equilibrium will be achieved here. So to reach this equilibrium position at 40-60 composition, this reaction will achieve equilibrium. So to reach this equilibrium position, say for example, this reaction will take 10 minutes of time in the absence of catalyst. In absence of catalyst, the reaction will take 10 minutes to reach this equilibrium position here. If we use positive catalyst, this reaction will reach this equilibrium point in less than 10 minutes. For example, you can take 5 minutes also. So this will be what? In presence of catalyst, this reaction will reach equilibrium position in very less time here. But the presence of positive catalyst will not affect the equilibrium point. Again, the reaction will achieve equilibrium position only at 40-60 composition only, but time taken is less than earlier. So in the absence of catalyst, it takes more time. In presence of catalyst, it takes less time to reach the equilibrium position, but there is no change in the equilibrium composition. So this is very important point we have to remember. Next point is at equilibrium. At equilibrium, Gibbs free energy will become 0 here. At equilibrium, Gibbs free energy value, changing Gibbs free energy value is 0. So this is also one important point for the equilibrium. So next point is active mass. Active mass is nothing but molar concentration of reactants here. So active mass equal to, so what is active mass here? Active mass is nothing but molar concentration of reactants here. So what is molar concentration? Molar concentration is nothing but number of moles divided by volume in liter here. So active mass formula will be number of moles by volume in terms of liter. So active mass will be equal to number of moles divided by volume in liter. Number of moles is what? N by volume in liter. So here if you take volume in ml, so it becomes as what? N into 1000 divided by volume in ml. If you take volume in ml, this must be multiplied with 1000. Now what is number of moles here? N is equal to weight by molecular weight. So remaining here as it is 1000 divided by volume in ml. So you can write active mass as what? Weight by molecular weight, 1000 divided by volume in ml. Again, mass by volume will be what? Density here. You can write it as density into 1000 divided by molar mass, where this density will be in terms of what? Gram per ml here. So this active mass is represented with a square bracket which indicates number of moles per liter here. So this active mass is nothing but, it is indicated with a square bracket which indicates moles per liter of the reactant here. Now very important point about active mass is, for pure solids and liquids, active mass is always taken as 1. For pure solids, and liquids, active mass is always taken as what? Unity, that is 1 always. Always it will be taken as 1. Always you keep in mind, for pure solids and liquids, always active mass is taken as what? 1. Now for gases, active mass is expressed in terms of pressure. For gases, active mass, that is nothing but active mass is in terms of what? It is taken in terms of pressure here. So for gases, the partial pressure is calculated by what? Partial pressure is equal to its mole fraction into total pressure. So for gases, partial pressure of gas will be equal to its mole fraction into total pressure. So this is the important formula, again you have to remember. Or pressure of the gas can also be calculated by using an ideal gas equation, that is PV equal to nRT also. I will take some example. So active mass of 4 gram of H2, that is taken in 2 liter of vessel. For example, 4 gram of H2 in 2 liter. So what is number of moles of H2 here? Number of moles of H2 is mass by molar mass. Molar mass is 2 here. So this will be 2 moles. Okay. So what is the active mass here? Active mass of the H2 is nothing but number of moles divided by volume. What is the number of moles? 2. Volume is again 2 liter. So this will be what? 1 mole per liter. So this will be the active mass of this H2 here. Next example, you can take 128 gram of HI is taken in 4 liter vessel. 128 gram of HI is taken in what? 4 liter vessel. For example, here you take this one. Number of moles of HI will be, what is number of moles? Weight by molecular weight. What is molecular weight of HI? 128 only. So number of moles become as what? 128 by 128. This will be what? 1 mole. So active mass will be, active mass of HI will be equal to number of moles divided by volume in liter. Number of moles divided by what? Volume in liter. 1 by 4. This is nothing but 0.25 mole per liter. So this is how you can calculate active mass of the reactants. So next point is the law of mass action. So in short, we can write it as LMA, law of mass action. According to law of mass action, rate of the reaction is directly proportional to molar concentration of the reactants raised to the power equal to stoichiometric coefficient. For example, you take this reaction, reactant is giving what product here. So for this reaction, rate of the reaction is directly proportional to molar concentration of the reactant raised to what? Stoichiometric coefficient. So according to law of mass action, rate of the reaction is directly proportional to molar concentration of the reactant raised to the power equal to stoichiometric coefficient here. So for example, you take X moles of A is giving products. X moles of A is giving product. For this reaction, rate of the reaction is directly proportional to what? Rate of the reaction is directly proportional to molar concentration of A raised to the power equal to stoichiometric coefficient. So how many moles of A is there? X. So the power must be X here. If you remove this proportionality sign, you will get a rate constant K here. This equal to K into molar concentration of A power X, where K equal to what? Rate constant or velocity constant, we call it as. Okay, you take another example. X moles of A and Y moles of B reacts together to give products. Okay, so for this reaction, according to law of mass action, rate of the reaction is directly proportional to molar concentration of A raised to the power equal to its stoichiometric coefficient. How many moles of A? X moles. Okay, raised to the power equal to X here. Now molar concentration of B raised to the power equal to Y. So if you remove this proportionality sign, what you will get here? Rate equal to K into molar concentration of A power X, molar concentration of B power Y here. Now you take another example. 2A plus 3B gives products. 2A plus 3B gives products. So for this reaction, rate of the reaction will be equal to rate constant into molar concentration of A power 2 molar concentration of B power 3 here. So this is how you have to write rate equation according to law of mass action here. Suppose if you take a reversible reaction here, X moles of A is giving Y moles of B. So in this reaction, this is the forward direction and this will be what? Backward direction. Forward reaction and backward reaction. For forward reaction, this is the reactant, and for backward reaction, this will be the reactant here. So according to law of mass action, rate of forward reaction will be equal to rate constant for the forward reaction into molar concentration of A raised to the power X here, because X moles of A is there, number of moles of A will be taken as what? Power here. Similarly, for backward reaction, this will be the reactant. So for this one, rate of backward reaction will be equal to rate constant for the backward reaction into molar concentration of B raised to the power Y here. So according to law of mass action, you can write rate equation like this here. Now we will see the application of law of mass action in the law of chemical equilibrium here. So next point is law of chemical equilibrium. Law of chemical equilibrium. So let us consider one reversible reaction here. So very simple concept it is. X moles of A is giving Y moles of B. X is also a gaseous reactant. Take Y is also what? Gaseous product formed here. Since it is being a reversible reaction, A to B will be forward reaction and B to A will be what? Backward reaction here. How many moles of A? X moles of A. How many moles of B here? Y moles of B will be formed here. So for this reaction, what is the delta N value? What is delta N here? Number of moles of gaseous product minus number of moles of gaseous reactant here. So that is nothing but Y minus X equal to what? Delta N. So Y is equal to what here? Number of moles of gaseous product. X equal to number of moles of gaseous reactant. So delta N equal to number of moles of gaseous product minus number of moles of gaseous reactant. Keep in mind, always you have to take only gaseous product as well as gaseous reactants here. So delta N value is equal to what? Y minus X. Now you see here, according to law of mass action, what you can write here? For the forward reaction, A will be the reactant, and for the backward reaction, B will be the reactant here. So according to law of mass action, rate of forward reaction will be equal to rate constant for the forward reaction into molar concentration of A power X, rate of backward reaction. For the backward reaction, which is reactant? B will be the reactant. So rate constant of backward reaction into molar concentration of B raised to the power equal to what? Number of moles. How many number of moles? Y number of moles here. So this is equation number 1 and this is equation number 2 here. Now we know that at equilibrium what happens? Rate forward will be equal to rate backward. So at equilibrium, equation number 1 become as equal to 2 here. At equilibrium, rate of forward reaction will be equal to rate of backward reaction. So what is rate of forward reaction here? Kf into molar concentration of A power X equal to rate constant of backward reaction here, this one, molar concentration of B power Y. Now rearranging these two, Kf by Kb equal to molar concentration of B power Y divided by molar concentration of A power X here. Rate constant of forward reaction, rate constant of backward reaction. Since these two are constant, these two can be replaced with another constant that is called as equilibrium constant Kc. Kc is equilibrium constant in terms of concentration. This is what? Equilibrium constant in terms of concentration. Now see here, Kc is equal to molar concentration of B power Y divided by molar concentration of A power X. So equilibrium constant is what? It is the ratio of rate constant of forward reaction to the rate constant of backward reaction. or it is the ratio of molar concentration of product at equilibrium to the molar concentration of reactant at equilibrium, provided the power must be what? Equal to number of moles. Number of moles of B is Y. Number of moles of A is what? X here. Okay. Now, in this one, this equilibrium constant can also be written in terms of what? Pressure here. So Kc is what here? Once again we will write Kc. Kc is nothing but number of moles of, that is molar concentration of B power Y divided by molar concentration of A power X. So this is in terms of concentration. So equilibrium constant in terms of pressure can also be written as Kp. Kp is equilibrium constant in terms of pressure. In terms of pressure, what you consider? Partial pressure of reactant as well as partial pressure of product here. So partial pressure of product is what here? So Kp equal to partial pressure of B raised to the power Y divided by partial pressure of A, product by reactant. This is product by reactant. Partial pressure of A raised to the power equal to what? X here. So this is equilibrium constant in terms of concentration, equilibrium constant in terms of pressure here. Simply you take product by reactant, concentration, partial pressure. Power will be what? Number of moles. For B, Y is the number of moles. For A, X will be what? Number of moles here. So now we will see units of Kp and Kc. So units of Kc and Kp, units of equilibrium constant here. Okay. So now for Kc, its unit will be what? Active mass to the power delta N. Active mass is nothing but what? Mole per liter power delta N. Units of Kp will be equal to what? Unit of Kp is unit of pressure whole power delta N here. So what is delta N? Number of moles of gaseous product minus number of moles of gaseous reactant here. So if delta N value is equal to 0, if the difference between these two becomes 0, then Kp and Kc both become unitless here. Then Kp and Kc become unitless if delta N is not equal to 0. Then both Kp and Kc have units. Okay. So if delta N value equal to 0, then Kp and Kc both become unitless. If delta N is not equal to 0, then only Kp and Kc will be having units here. So for any reaction is given, first what you have to do here? Just you have to find out delta N value. Simply you have to take number of moles of gaseous product minus number of moles of gaseous reactant. We will see the examples here.